Coming up next on Arizona Horizon, we'll have an update on the local real estate market. Tempe is named a Google eCity for its online business environment, and a local jazz center is named after a Phoenix native and celebrating its second anniversary. Those stories next on Arizona Horizon.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of Eight, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to Arizona Horizon. I'm Ted Simons. Phoenix's housing market remains sluggish with supply and demand levels relatively low. Why is this going on and when will the market pick back up? For answers, we turn to economist Elliot Pollack of the Elliott D. Pollack and Company. Good to have you. Good to see you again.
Nice to be here.
Give us an overview, 10,000-foot view. What's going on in the market?
The market is weak. We got down to about 6,800 units, down from 63,000, so we lost almost 90% of the market. And then it jumped to about 12,000 units, and then it died. It's back to about 11,000 units. No real pickup in demand, and there's several reasons for this. The first one is that nobody's showing up, that fewer people are moving nationally, and of those people moving, fewer are moving to Arizona at the moment. And so without population flow, you really don't need a lot of new housing. And what used to happen in past cycles is we'd have a very low unemployment rate, you'd start to create jobs, and that would suck in people from the outside. They all bring their own demand for goods and services. They need housing, they need clothes, they need cars, they need food. And so that would ramp up the number of jobs, and that would bring in even more people. We're now at about 40% of what we would normally be in population growth, so we're not getting the spur in population growth that we normally get.
Is that in migration? Is that somewhat of a canary in the coal mine for economic conditions?
Well, it certainly is a canary in the coal mine for economic conditions nationally. In other words, people still haven't gotten over what happened in 8 through 10. They simply are still nervous. They're not willing to move, but there are reasons they're not moving. Nearly a third of the people in this country have less than 20% equity in their homes, which means they can't sell, because if you need at least 20% equity you sell your house, you pay the closing costs, you need a down payment, you need money to move, and without a reasonable amount of equity, that's not happening. So there's a lot of people, about a third of the housing market really isn't there. Then there's people in the penalty box, about 5 million nationally and about 200,000 in Arizona, that were foreclosed on between 8 and 12. They can't get back in really till 16 or 17, and even then they might decide, we don't really want to. What happened there is these people didn't go to apartments. If you lost your house, about 90% of them simply moved down the block to a rental. Why? Because if you have 2 kids and a dog, you're not living in an apartment. You can stay in the same school district. You can have the same friends. So that takes another 200,000 people out of the game, and that doesn't even include short sale people who really can't get back in the market right away. And so there's a lot of the market that appears to be there that simply is neutered at this point in time.
Will it be, when this glut of folks who are in the penalty box, when they return in 16, 17, 18, could there possibly be a shortage of homes?
There will likely be a big pickup in housing, yes. Now the question is, how many of them decide, you know what, I don't want to be in a home I own, I like being in a home I rent. But for those people, it's musical chairs. Let me give you an example, all right? I'm in this house and I rent it, okay?
Yes.
I decide I'm going to buy this house. There's no change in inventory because I'm simply going here. This house is now back on the market. So those people will not cause a shortage of housing. What will cause a shortage of housing is millennials deciding to buy, which at some point they will. Right now, about 33% of them are living home with mommy and daddy. That isn't going to last forever because they don't want to be there any more than their parents want them to be there. They simply can't launch because they can't get a good job. They're delaying marriage, and if you delay marriage, you delay having kids. If you delay having kids, you delay demand for housing. That will change over time. There's no factor I'm going to discuss with you that doesn't change over time. The problem is nobody knows for sure exactly when.
What about investors? What about those foreclosures? Are there's investors used to be all over this place, not anymore.
No, they're not over this place, essentially because the good deals in housing are gone. Housing prices are up substantially from the bottom, and that's mainly because the bottom tier, the foreclosures, were really giveaways, and now they're gone. Foreclosures are a little above normal, but they're way down from where they were and headed towards normal very quickly. So I don't think that's an issue. The real issue, the main issue, I think, is financing. You have a smaller market, but it's financing. If you are an independent contractor, if you own your own business, if you're an affluent retiree, try to get a loan. You don't fit in a particular box, so you're not going to get a loan. What has happened is the government has locked the barn door after the horse is gone. And one of the things they did is called a putback. And that is they have the right for any reason to put back a loan to you as the guy who made the loan, and for any reason. And they're doing it for loans that were made 10 years ago, claiming, well, it wasn't underwritten properly. Nobody knows what's going to happen 10 years from now. The putback should be for 2 or 3 years, and you should be able to correct paperwork errors, because they're also putting back loans that are old just for paperwork errors. There was no fraud involved. Somebody forgot a signature. Somebody forgot to notarize something. That will change. I think there's going to be enough pressure, so that will change. When financing becomes more normalized, then things will get better fairly quickly. Will it get back to 30,000 units? Not at any time soon.
And this brings me back to expectations here. You mentioned, when financing gets better, things will get better. Is apple oranges here? I mean,
well, absolutely. Because you need the construction employment to essentially start the wheel rolling, getting more people here. The major difference between this cycle and past cycles is there has essentially been no recovery in construction employment. That will change when there's more housing and there's more office buildings and there's more apartments and so on.
Well, are there going to be more apartments? There are apartments on every corner of the block. Are we going to see a glut of apartments here pretty soon?
No, I think demographically things couldn't be better for apartments. There'll be demand, a lot of demand for apartments at least for the next decade. And that's because the millennials are actually, as a generation, are as big as the post-war baby boom. So there'll just be huge demand for kids who first go to apartments and then have delayed marriage, so they'll be in apartments longer, and then will eventually buy a house. What's happening in Phoenix is a large number of the apartments are very expensive apartments along Scottsdale Road, near Scottsdale and Camelback, and all the way up towards Frank Lloyd Wright, some in Chandler, and they're very expensive. The stuff that's being built that's reasonable, maybe $1.50 a square foot, that'll absorb overnight, I'm positive, because there's so much demand.
And that'll stay absorbed.
Yes, and I think that it's going to be difficult for the whole market to become a glut for a long time because there's so much basic underlying demand.
So basically, expectations, got to temper them a little bit and just be patient and wait for the folks from the penalty box to get back on the ice.
Yes, and nobody's exactly sure how quickly they'll come back, but they are likely to come back.
All right. Elliot, good to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Of Arizona Technology and Innovation looks at why Tempe was recently named a Google e-city. Joining us now is Tempe Mayor Mark Mitchell. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Ted.
What is all this? What is a Google? What does an e-city mean? What's this all about?
Well, we're the digital capital for the state of Arizona, and we were very fortunate to receive this award because of all the online businesses and how active our residents are regarding the web.
So basically, a Google city is a place where you have lots of websites, fast websites, good interconnectivity, that sort of thing?
Yes, and the number of people that use them. And if you think about it, our average age for the city of Tempe is 28, and the web has been around 25 years. So pretty much hand in hand, most majority of our residents have grown up using the web.
And are you seeing most of that activity downtown? Do you see it at the research part? What parts of town?
All across the city. I mean, Tempe has the highest concentration of tech-related companies anywhere in the valley.
How does a local government support that, encourage that? You got government on here, business over here. How do the twain meet?
Well, it's not rocket science, but businesses typically that do business online grow 40% faster than businesses that don't. And since we have the largest concentration of tech-related companies in our community, the quality of life amenities, the fact that we're a 20-minute city, multimodal, I think that really attracts certain types of businesses. And it doesn't hurt to have Arizona State University as well.
I was going to say, having the university there must be a big bonus.
Oh, absolutely.
In terms of attracting these folks and keeping these folks in, obviously the downtown area where the university is, but again, all over town.
All over town, but it's also the quality of life that we provide for our residents that does not only attract residents, but also attracts companies to our community. I mean, we're the largest importer of jobs per capita than any city in the valley.
I noticed that during the announcement it was mentioned that you wanted to make sure that every business embraces the web. How as a government do you do that?
Well, I mean, we reach out to our residents on the web. We have a phenomenal Facebook page. We have a great web page. It's really geared towards the residents. We have an app, a mobile app, a 311, to get residents connected regarding their neighborhoods, if there's a street light out, if there's a garbage can that needs to be fixed, a pothole that needs to be fixed, or just even give us good positive reviews.
Or otherwise,
or
right?
Otherwise.
Or otherwise. You accepted the award at a Mill Avenue t-shirt shop. Why?
Well, because Brand X T-shirts, they've done very, very well. Their main business is on Mill Avenue, but the majority of the business is online. And as I mentioned earlier, businesses that tend to be online tend to grow 40% faster than businesses that are not.
You know, that's an interesting question because you've got that t-shirt shop and they're bricks and mortar right now,
Correct.
But you're saying so much of their business is online. Is government ready for when so much business is online, you may lose bricks and mortar?
No, I think you always want to have bricks and mortars, and you see that because people like to have a tangible aspect in terms of touch and feel. But a lot of times it's a combination of both, and I think that we have that with the businesses in our community. And people also like to interact and walk up and down Mill Avenue, and also our strip centers that are neighborhood friendly, that has the right types of businesses that they like to visit.
So, but there's no like plan B. If everyone starts going over to the web, you still got an idea of getting those vacancies filled.
Oh yes, we're very fortunate. Right now we have the lowest vacancy rate for retail as well as Class A office in the entire valley.
And I want to ask you about something going. I can't get you out of here before that USA basketball there at Millen University.
Correct.
When's that thing breaking ground?
We're working very hard. We have a great partner with ASU. We're working with Omni and USA Place, and we're hoping we break ground soon. It's just a matter of them getting some of the final touches together, and we can move forward to get that hotel conference center that we so much need.
End of the year, start of next year?
Right now, what we've been told, they're looking at towards the end of the year.
Okay, interesting. What about the trolley?
We're working on that as well. Actually, you know, we have to partner with the feds. We have a local match already in place, and it's a regional project. So eventually, we'd love to connect to our friends to the east in the city of Mesa. We think that's going to be a huge economic boom, not only for our region, but for the city of Tempe as well, and all the businesses to help move people in and around our downtown area.
And as far as the downtown area and moving folks around, that State Farm complex, anyone driving on the 202 sees more cranes in one area than they do in a swamp. I mean, how's that thing going?
It's going fantastic. It's ahead of schedule. It's a beautiful looking building, and I think some residents have dubbed the new city bird in Tempe as the crane.
The crane, yes.
That's a new bird. So.
And I've also noticed that College Avenue north of University is like, you wouldn't recognize it if you hadn't been there in a year.
No, if you haven't been there, I mean, I remember when I was at ASU, we had College Street Deli. It was a big place that everyone always went. And I grew up going to the Newman Center. I was baptized at the Newman Center. And to see the transition of College Street with the art annex, with the Postinos, and soon to be Snooze, it's a breakfast place, and you have the new School of Construction there, and the Devil Marketplace, which is a retail store for ASU. It's a great event space, and it's just going to only get better.
All right. Well, congratulations on being a Google City. Is it a Google City? Yeah,
it's a Google E-City.
A Google E, excuse me.
Digital capital of the state of Arizona.
All right. Good to see you, Mayor.
Good to see you.
Tonight's edition of Arizona Art Beat looks at a downtown Phoenix jazz club celebrating its second anniversary. The club is called The Nash, and it's named after Phoenix native Louis Nash, who was deemed the most valuable player in jazz by Modern Drummer magazine. Nash is back in town to perform for the second anniversary of the club that bears his name, and joining us now is Louis Nash. And also with us is Joel Goldenthal, Executive Director of Jazz in Arizona, a local nonprofit that owns and operates The Nash. Good to have you both here. Thanks for joining us.
Pleasure to be here.
I got to tell you, if there were a club named the Ted, I'd be impossible to live with. What's it like to have a club named after you?
I'll tell you, it's a great honor, and I feel so elated, I guess would be the word, tickled. And of course honored, as I said at first, to be deemed the person to name this fantastic venue after, and being someone who's born and raised here in Phoenix, it's a doubly special honor.
And I want to get to your background here in Phoenix in a second here, but as far as jazz in Arizona, as far as the Nash is concerned, talk to us about how all this got started.
Well, Jazz in Arizona has been around for 37 years, and it's always promoted live jazz music and education. But as with most jazz enterprises in the country, we were kind of sliding and not attracting young people, which is really what it's all about, is the next generation of jazz musicians. So we got this idea a couple of years, 3 years ago. A former board member of mine, and we went out to coffee. He said, I'd like to open a jazz club at downtown Phoenix for the purpose of giving young musicians a place to perform and attracting a young jazz audience. So we put the idea together with Jazz and Az, and we had a lot of meetings with young people and found out what they would want, and when we opened the doors, they came.
And so are there educational classes and workshops and these sorts of things going on?
Yeah, we have, this summer we had 12 programs going on, and we have master classes and lessons throughout the year, and the top jazz musicians and educators throughout the valley come and teach at the Nash.
Now, what got you started in Phoenix native? I mean, you actually are a Phoenix native.
That's right.
What got you started in jazz, and can you use some of that experience in helping the folks at Jazz and Az get that kind of background at the Nash?
Absolutely, because I can reflect back to when I was young and the things that interested me and what got me into the door, so to speak. And I was in high school. I went to East Phoenix High School. And I joined what in those days was called the stage band. They didn't really call it the jazz band in those days. But that was my first taste of any kind of organized jazz performance situation, was in high school.
But before that, was it something about jazz? Some kids go to rock music, some kids go to classical music, you can go all sorts of different directions. Why jazz for you?
Well, growing up, I heard mostly gospel, rhythm and blues. And those musics are have the same roots as jazz. I mean, they're really come from the same tree. And so when I heard jazz and started to become interested in it, what really attracted me was the fact that you could be more creative and express yourself in a different way than you could in the other forms. And so that, for me, was the draw, that I could be a little bit more expressive.
And as far as drums are concerned, I mean, you could have played sax, you could have played bass, you could have done all. Why drums?
That's one I don't know if I can answer, but my siblings and parents always told me that from a very young age they knew that's what I wanted to do, because I'd get my mother's pots and pans out of the kitchen and surround myself with them on the floor, and get knives and forks, or if I was outside I'd get a tree branch and break it and put cardboard boxes around me. So they knew.
They knew, but when did you know this was more than just a hobby, this was more than just an interest, and when did you know, I'm pretty good at this?
Well, the funny thing is I went to, after high school, I went to Arizona State University as a broadcast journalism major.
Interesting.
And I wanted to follow in the footsteps of Walter Cronkite, and actually I saw the door open when I saw Max Robinson on ABC News back in those days. He was the first African-American anchor, I believe, in the United States on network TV. And I said, well, the door's open. I think I might want to do this. So that's what I went to school intending to do. But I'd been playing music all those years. And one day someone stopped me in the hall and said, Louis, you're not a music major, are you? And I said, no. He said, and you don't plan on going into music as a career? And I said, no. And he said, I think you're making a mistake.
Interesting. Isn't that something? Mentors they're out there, aren't
Yeah,
they? They're out.
yeah.
And you take that experience and you move it now over to the Nash. When young people are showing up there for the classes, for the instruction, just to see a show, what do you want them to experience? What do you want them to see and feel?
Well, I'm convinced that there's a jazz gene, and it's just a matter of exposure. It's all about exposure. So the number one thing to do is expose people to the music. So there are people who don't think they like jazz, and then they come into a jazz venue and hear jazz, and they love it. So basically, want them to experience the music, and you know, in this day and age where individual expression is the most important thing. This is the music that gives you that freedom. So that's what I want people to see.
And I was going to ask, is we have classical artists on the show all the time, and I try to tell them, sometimes folks are intimidated. They go to an opera, they go to a class, they don't know what they're listening for, and people around them seem to be getting it. When you go to a jazz club, when you go to the Nash, and you see Louis Nash or you see other nationally known performers, even local, what do you listen for? What is jazz?
Well, you answer what jazz is.
Even Louis Armstrong didn't want to try to answer that. So I won't attempt to, but I will say this, that when you're in an environment where you feel that you don't really understand what's going on, sometimes the best thing to do is just experience it in the most visceral way and just feel it, and don't attempt to try to understand what's going on. I mean, when we watch a movie, we don't know all of the techniques, acting techniques that go into making a great actor, but we can experience it, the movie or the film for its aesthetic value. So I think it's a mistake to attempt to understand everything in the beginning.
It's a very visceral art form. It's been overly intellectualized, and people think that they have to have an intellectual understanding. That's not the case. You like what you hear, and it feels good, and that's the bottom line.
So when you see Louis up there doing with the brushes and doing all these things, he's probably doing things that other drummers are going, oh yeah, and, oh I understand, oh that's fantastic. I don't need to know that. All I need to see is the movement, the pattern, the rhythm, the timing.
All you need to be is amazed, is what you
Yeah,
be.
yeah, because we've had poets on the show, and
Sure.
they say, don't try to understand it.
Right.
Read the poet, speak the poem out loud, let it happen to you,
Yeah.
and if it happens further, great. If it doesn't, move on.
I agree.
So that makes sense then?
Yes, it
Absolutely.
does. It
Okay,
most
so talk to us. You don't live in Phoenix anymore, do you?
No, I've been in New York since 1980, 81.
You get back much?
All the time, as much as I can. I love the desert.
And what it's, as far as living in New, I mean, it must be fantastic. You work with all sorts of. You have your own band. You have your own.
Yes, I do.
And it must be fantastic.
It's
back
incredible. I can't even tell you. It's the dream come true that I didn't even know I was dreaming.
there. Yeah. and do you keep in touch with any high school kids? Any high
Yes,
school?
many of my high school classmates have come. Some have come to the Nash. Some have been at other events I've been involved with here. And of course, my family's still here.
No, the family must be.
siblings and my parents. My father just passed away earlier this year, but my mom's still here. I have a grandmother who's 101. So
Oh, my goodness.
I have lots of reasons to come back.
They must be awfully proud of you.
Of course.
I'll bet they are. And as far as now the second anniversary of the Nash, what's going to go? I'm assuming this gentleman over here will be a major part of it.
Well, yes, he will be. We have 4 major events going on. Tomorrow at 3 o'clock, there's a master class given by Barry Harris, who is a world-renowned pianist, an NEA jazz master, and he's literally the father of the jazz master class. His technique is emulated worldwide. Then on Saturday, Friday night, Corey Weed's quartet with Louis Nash on drums. Corey's a wonderful saxophone player from Vancouver who's coming down. Peter Washington on bass. So that'll be at the Nash tomorrow night. Saturday is an in-home concert, private concert with the Barry Harris Trio. There'll be Barry Harris, Louis Nash, and Peter Washington. And Sunday at the Nash, there are 2 concerts, 6 and 8 o'clock. to which we're adding Jimmy Heath, another NEA jazz master. These two guys are legends.
Wow, that's a busy crowd got going over there.
It's a busy crowd, and I'm proud of Phoenix, the turnout we're getting. We're going to be packed.
And real quickly, are there many Nashes around the country right now, or is this almost unique?
Well, I would venture to say there's nothing exactly like this, but there are folks around the country who are attempting to do similar things in terms of educating young people and having venues where they can play, and masters like he mentioned, Jimmy Heath and Barry Harris can come and do master classes and interact with them. So there are others who are doing similar things.
Well, congratulations on the club success, and good luck in
Thank
the
you.
future. And congratulations on your success. You're a Longhorn. Was that
That's
the
right.
Longhorn?
That's exactly
I remember
right.
that. Good to have you here.
Thank you very kindly.
We want to hear from you. Submit your questions, comments, and concerns via email at arizonahorizon@asu.edu.
And Friday on Arizona Horizon, it's the Journalists Roundtable. We'll have an election preview, including last-minute activity in statewide races, and we'll talk about why Democrats are promoting a libertarian in a local congressional race. That's on the Journalists Roundtable. That's it for now. I'm Ted Simons. Thanks for joining us. You have a great evening.
Arizona Horizon is made possible by contributions from the Friends of 8, members of your Arizona PBS station. Thank you.